Marketing, sum total of all activities involved in getting goods and services from the original producer to the ultimate consumer. Market research often helps to solve marketing problems. Secondary data, data collected by others. Primary data, data collected by yourself. Product development uses market research and your own creative control. Companies will often test their new products or their ads before it's public release to ensure the consumer will like it. Must consider the costs and expenses to pay for yourself and the time spent, plus the profit you want to make, which will be your price. But you have to decide if the consumer is willing to pay. Advertising highlights the best part of your product in a cost effective way. You could sell at trade shows, open your own store, or sell online. Lastly, you have to consider the logistics to transfer your products. The 4 P's of international marketing. First, product. Packaging. The weight of a product, since different countries might use different metric systems. Package colors. Some colors in different countries will have different meanings. Legal requirements. Different countries will have different legal requirements and labeling requirements. And then labeling requirements. Countries have different labeling requirements. Language requirements. Some countries require packaging to be translated. Ingredients. Many countries have strong taboos, both religious and cultural. They prohibit the use of certain products, so you must take that into consideration if your product contains any of those ingredients. To add on to legal requirements, there will be legal requirements, especially if your packaging is not environmentally friendly. Next, style. People from different countries have different preferences in style. It's important to see what's popular and trendy in that country. Next, place. Centralized strategy. All manufacturing and marketing done in the original country. Decentralized strategy. Doing all the manufacturing or the marketing in another country. To add on, Craves Candy is currently using the centralized strategy in Winnipeg, Manitoba. E-commerce is a great way to enter the international market. It can often be more effective than retailers. There are many types of e-commerce, specifically three. We have business to consumer, business to government, and business to business. Using a sales agent is a way to do the decentralized strategy. If you're still manufacturing in Canada, but you still want to sell in another country, sales agencies would be a great way to do so. Another one is trade shows, collection of manufacturers and distributors of similar products that run booths and display their products for potential buyers. You can gain a lot of potential exposure and can help you connect with local sales agents or importers. Branch plants, manufacturing in the country you want to be in. Most expensive option, but the cheapest long term. This way, shipping costs are cheaper, import regulations and tariffs are no longer an issue, and product modifications are easier. Next, licensing agreements. Contract giving someone the right to use the patent or trademark. The manufacturer pays the owner of the trademark a percentage of the revenue, which is called a royalty. The most prevalent example of this is Disney. There are three types of these agreements. Manufacturing agreements. Anyone from a foreign country can have the right to manufacture or even rebrand in that foreign country. Next, distribution agreements. You can grant exclusive distribution agreements where the retailer are the only retailer out of all of their competition that gets to sell your product. Next, franchising agreement turns ownership of a company to a local franchise who runs the business under a direct control of the head office. Acquisitions, the most effective way for companies to deal with competition in foreign or domestic markets. This means just buying out the company to get rid of their competition. Third, price. In most cases, the domestic price of a product is certainly lower than international products. This includes labor costs. The price of labor in other countries are often lower than Canada. Next, shipping costs. When goods are shipped internationally, it gets a lot more expensive. Next, duties and tariffs. Countries often charge a tax on the imported goods compared to domestic goods. And lastly, legal costs. Modifications must be made to adhere to standards. This is why most companies like the decentralized strategy, as that way they can make their prices competitive. Fourth, promotion. There are three ways to promote when planning to sell internationally. First, use an existing ad if your culture is similar to your foreign market and if your ad is suitable, it saves both money and time. Next, translating ads, creating one ad and dubbing it for different countries. It's a bit more expensive, but it's still time and cost effective. Lastly, it's creating new ads. Very expensive, but allows you to focus on a specific consumers and making it a lot more personalized. The majority of the world's vanilla comes from Madagascar and Indonesia. And next we move on to the two C's of international marketing. First, we have consumers, which is their target market. This involves looking at what people in selected nations are selling abroad. Be careful to avoid ethnocentralism, which is a belief that your own culture, values, beliefs, and customs are the right way to do things, and the value systems of other countries are not as important. To avoid this, visit countries and their local stores to experience their culture and customs, read country profiles on the internet, and offer your products online in that country to see if there's any demand. From this, you can determine if that product can both afford your product and actually want it. Second, competition. We need to differentiate ourselves from domestic competitors. If there's a company that monopolizes the market, it may not be a good idea to go into it. First, there are two types of competition. First is direct competition, which are competitors selling a very similar, nearly identical product and competing in the same market for the same consumers. And indirect competition are more general products you're competing with, mainly competing for the consumer's discretionary income. Next, competitive advantage. A company has a competitive advantage when it has an edge over other companies. These advantages are often temporary as innovations are constantly happening. One of them is lower cost of production, which results in lower costs for the consumers. Economies of scale suggest that the more products you make in one factory using the same labor and overhead costs, the cheaper it will be. That is what Coca-Cola does. Next is lower distribution costs. Having their factories within their target market to lower the distribution costs. Another example, Coca-Cola and how they have factories in China so that significantly reduces costs from when they had to originally ship from Europe to China instead. Next is product differentiation. Product is just difference about the product from others and could be a reason that the consumer chooses you. This could be a difference packaging, difference in taste, very small things, but that might be the reason that the consumers end up preferring you instead. Lastly is brand equity, the value of a brand in the market and how much brand awareness they have. This is often achieved through good marketing, and the best example are the Apple iPods and how the consumer preferred that compared to other devices. Floor marketing and Canadian shopping habits. Canadian consumers shop globally. Due to globalization, Canadians can now choose products from all over the world, especially from US-owned retailers. The change from consumers means Canadian retailers must stock goods from many retailers globally to compete with online retailers. Opportunities for Canadian businesses. If you want to start a retail business, selecting merchandise is extremely important. For unique selection, you could visit international trade shows in the same category to find very cool and unique products. Many Canadians will shop Canadian, but with the increase in foreign ownership, that's becoming more and more difficult. Many businesses might take advantage of their Canadian history and remind their customers that they're proudly Canadian. Another thing to think about is that the group ProCycle is a big bike company in Canada. There are two types of marketing. There's one that is interruption marketing, which is interrupting someone's flow of activity in order to get their attention. This includes search spam, radio, print ads, billboards, pop-ups, sales calls, trade booths, social media advertisements, paid ad reviews, etc. And there is the inbound marketing, which earns attention organically without interrupting anyone's path. This includes supporting or sponsoring events, press and public relations, community building, influencer outreach, blogging, public speaking, earned social media, word of mouth, and viral marketing. For the first of the four P's, product. Product is a physical product or service offered to the consumer. In the case of physical products, it also refers to any services or inconveniences that are a part of the offering. Product decisions include aspects such as function, appearance, packaging, service, warranty, and a range of offerings. Place. Place decisions are associated with channels of distribution that serve as the means for getting the product to the target consumers. The distribution system performs transactional, logistical, and facilitating functions. Distribution decisions include market coverage, channel member selection, logistics, and levels of service. Push and pull marketing. First is the pull marketing, which is doing promotional campaigns, which is then where the consumer reaches and seek out a particular brand of product, and then the retailer purchases stock from the manufacturer after the demand from the consumers. While push marketing is when the retailer is persuaded by the manufacturer to stock product, and then in-store promotions and trained sales force pushes the product, and then the customer is likely to purchase the product on that day. Next, price. Pricing decisions should take into account profit margins and the probable pricing response of competitors. Pricing includes not only the list price, but also discounts, financing, and other options, such as leasing. The three main price strategies are skimming, penetration, and competitive. Skimming pricing is where prices are initially set higher with the competing brands, and as prices slowly lower over time due to more competition in the market. Next, penetration pricing. To add on to skimming pricing, it results in short-term profits. Their high prices control a lot of demand, and consumer believes that high price equals good quality. That being said, high prices encourages a lot of competition. Next, we have penetration strategy, which is when a product or service is priced significantly lower than the competition. The advantages are that it attracts new customers and allows newcomers to win market share from the competition, gives the impression of fair pricing, but the disadvantages are it has low profits. Next, competitive pricing. This is where prices are set at the same level or slightly lower than the competition, which is the most common pricing strategy. Companies compete with each other on one or another element of the marketing mix, then price. The advantages are that competitive pricing can increase market share, and larger companies can force smaller competitors out of the market. The disadvantages are there must be ways to convince the consumer that your product is better than competition. Consumer behavior is the study of the process by which customers come to purchase and consume a product or service. The factors include cultural, which is cultural, generation, and ethnicity and religion. Personal, which is income, age, gender, education, occupation, family role, lifestyle, personality, etc. And we have social, which are family, peer groups, friends, and psychological, which is motivation, perception, attitudes, and beliefs. Promotion. Promotion decisions are those related to persuading and selling to potential consumers. Since these costs can be large in proportion to the product price, an even breakdown analysis should be performed by making promotion decisions. There are 5 elements of promotion. This includes personal selling, advertising, sales, promotion, direct marketing, and publicity.